What if one morning you woke up to find nearly 100 houses built on land you owned, the so-called powerful HOA smugly thinking they'd buried you under red tape and arrogance, but you let them finish every nail, every pipe, every brick, and then at the final moment you walked into court with the one thing they never expected: your original deed proving the land was yours all along. Before I tell you how I brought a 96-home HOA empire crashing down with nothing but patience, cunning, and paperwork, make sure you subscribe for more unbelievable real-life revenge stories that will keep you hooked and remind you never to underestimate the quiet guy with the receipts. Because this all started 5 years ago when I inherited a large piece of land from my grandfather, a stubborn but brilliant man who always warned me, never sell this land cheap, boy, it's worth more than the paper they'll try to buy you with. At first, I didn't think much of it. The acreage sat on the outskirts of town and was mostly trees, a creek, and wild deer. But as the city expanded, developers began sniffing around, offering me quick money. I refused, knowing my grandfather's words, but one day a man in a sharp suit representing the homeowners association of a nearby community approached me with a smirk and an offer so insulting I almost laughed in his face. When I told him no, he leaned close and whispered, "You'll regret this, we build where we want, and we'll own you in court." At the time, I dismissed him, but within 6 months bulldozers roared, survey stakes appeared, and crews started tearing into my land as if my ownership meant nothing. I contacted the county, I called lawyers, I filed complaints, but the HOA had connections and permits. Shady ones, forged ones, or bribed ones, I couldn't tell, but every office gave me the runaround. Friends told me to chain myself to a tree, others said sue immediately, but something inside me whispered patience, a voice I later realized was my grandfather's wisdom echoing. I decided to watch. For months, then years, I watched as they poured millions into infrastructure, paved roads, set up street lights, built pristine model homes, and sold dreams to unsuspecting families. 96 homes rose from the soil that legally belonged to me, and the HOA strutted like kings, charging fees, setting rules, and mocking me publicly at meetings where I was called the bitter land squatter. I played dumb, attending quietly, sometimes asking small questions just to gauge their arrogance, and each time they laughed me off. Behind the scenes, I hired a meticulous attorney who specialized in property law, a man known for tearing apart fraudulent developments, and together we built an ironclad case. We traced the original deed, confirmed the survey lines, unearthed the forged permits, and waited. The hardest part was keeping my temper when I saw families moving in, kids playing in yards I technically owned, and HOA members driving fancy cars bought with stolen confidence. But I knew if I acted too soon, they'd find a loophole or bulldoze over the truth. So I let them bury themselves deeper and deeper until the houses were finished, the HOA fat with power, and then, like pulling the pin from a grenade, I filed suit. The courtroom battle was explosive. Their lawyers swaggered in with binders full of bluff, mocking me as a nuisance trying to shake down a neighborhood. The judge, an old, sharp-eyed woman, listened quietly as they painted me as greedy, but when my attorney stood, he placed the original deed on the bench, the ink from the 1940s still crisp, signed by county clerks long dead but undeniably authentic. The room went silent. I'll never forget the HOA president's face draining of color as we projected maps, surveyor reports, and proof that every inch of their sparkling neighborhood sat squarely on my property. The judge leaned back, steepled her fingers, and said, "Gentlemen, this case is not about greed, it is about arrogance and theft." Over weeks, the trial unfolded with shocking twists. Evidence of bribed inspectors, falsified plats, kickbacks to county officials, and emails where HOA board members literally joked about steamrolling the dumb landowner. Each revelation made the homeowners gasp. Families realized they'd been duped, paying mortgages on homes possibly worthless if the land reverted to me. The HOA tried every trick, stalling, offering settlements, even threatening me quietly in parking lots. But the law was clear, the paper was ironclad, and my patience was finally paying off. The final ruling was devastating for them. I was declared the rightful owner of the entire development, all 96 homes and common areas, with the HOA dissolved and several board members facing criminal charges. Chaos erupted. Homeowners begged me for mercy, some angry, some in tears, but I wasn't heartless. I negotiated fairly, selling parcels back at honest prices, forgiving those who were victims, not villains. As for the HOA leaders, I let them drown in the debts of their own arrogance, their assets seized, their reputations ruined. In the end, I not only secured my land but also taught an entire community that the quiet man holding the deed is mightier than the loudest boardroom bully. Today, I drive through that neighborhood, now free of HOA tyranny, and families wave, kids laugh, and a plaque stands in the park with my grandfather's name, reminding everyone that patience and truth outlast arrogance and lies. And every time I see it, I whisper, "We won, Grandpa."